I hope we got audio this time. If you hear me, say yes. Welcome back to Tyler Talks, where hopefully you can hear me talk. I did a video. I didn't even do it. Was it yesterday? I guess it was yesterday. And I had all day today. I was like, man, I got to do the whole video again. But I like y'all. I do like doing this. And I'll be honest, I made some adjustments during that video. And I said I like the way the deck plays with the adjustments. So now I don't have to show me fumbling around and talking about the adjustments I made. This is white-brown side battle. I put it on the boards. Whoa, throwback. I put it on Discord a while back. And I don't know, maybe like a week or so ago. And just wanted to talk about it a bit. I changed out my two old monitors for one big curved monitor, so I think it's really cool. I'm just getting used to it. And when I plugged in my new monitor, I didn't think anything about the audio because this monitor now has a speaker in it, but it's only an output. So it just went to default and didn't pick up my headset. So who knows? All right, so white-brown side battle. This is currently at 53, which, like I say, a lot on this channel, especially during these months. We'll play 50 to, 57, 58 card decks. We mostly try to stick around 50, unless I play a little bit of D-heavy or some stuff. And we don't really do full-on tune decks until closer to like state regionals times. I just like to get decks and ideas out there and talk to y'all, just trying to think outside the box as well as what's good, a couple cards to incorporate, things of that nature. I really like white-brown. I'm just a big fan of the brown defense right now. Zeresh and Vashti and Heyman is just a lot of resources, and then you have a lot of just really strong battle winners. So I feel like between the defense, you can pull what you need. Immediate access to very strong battle winners. Arguably the strongest battle winner in the game, maybe outside Unsuccessful. Heyman's plot is so good, and Heyman gets it, so very, very good. I really like the interrupt draw threes, so I think more people are starting to play those. I think they're starting to play them more on offense as well. I really like Swift Beings in the Scroots format. Silver only had Swift Beings of an interrupt play. Interrupt draw play is really good, especially on like Angel Chariots in that format, because you have a negate draw 2 and now you have an interrupt draw 3. It gave Silver some speed where it lacked, so something to keep in mind. But I hear more people are playing the good enhancements that interrupt and draw. You'll see in Roots, there's certain like interrupt and play from here or interrupt draw 3. Or I'm sorry, you'll see from Roots interrupt draw 3, and then other cards like Shared Meal, interrupt play from this location, whatever it may be. So we try to give every brigade in that sense like an interrupt draw 3. So what are we trying to do with this deck? We are trying to capitalize on just very good battle winners, flexible battle winners on offense and defense. So we're trying to do flexible. Sorry, I had to pause there for a sec. We're trying to do just really strong enhancements and flexible dual enhancements. And we're trying to use our side battle cards. And I had one comment on Discord, not the boards. I had Discord, and they said, like, why only 2 side battles? I love side battles, but you can recur Brothers Conflict in this one with Tabernacle. So I felt like I really only need 2. I can play one off Awesome Things if I really want to, which I do enjoy doing that. If you have a bunch of characters down and I have 20 shekels, I see your hand, and I come out and do a side battle, I can go out with King Xerxes, and you have play advantage, and I can set aside X, which is your good brigade. So I can set aside your characters, the fact that it can set aside X cards in their territory, and now that means everything. That's really good. So if you're playing with 2-3 brigades or more, then I just hit more of your cards. So King Xerxes can become a battle winner. You can block and think you have initiative, and then I can play awesome things. Or I can let you block, like come out with David, grab Brothers Conflict, let you block, and then I can I can do a side battle with King Xerxes. And now your character in territory, only your stuff in territory, so your blocker. So I like to do a lot pre-block, or what I'm saying is let you block and then play awesome things, or have an ish and go into a side battle, and then I can use these awesome enhancements that I have. So what we have for Brown is Haman's Plot, Better to be Slaves, Confusion, Irrational Rage, Daughter's Grief, and Cast into Lion's Den. We all like to play that in a side battle, and I have a lot of evil characters that are good for side battles. I already mentioned Xerxes. If I can get a Lying Prophet and look at your hand and draw, and then go into Philosophy, that's really, really good, especially because I can recur Philosophy. So I can come into battle having already played Philosophy and then recur it, or same with Brothers Conflict. So it's just really good. I get a lot of uses. Not a lot, but the fact that I can get Philosophy or Brothers Conflict twice is really good. So I really like blocking with Lying Prophet because I get value there, plus the chance to play Philosophy is good. If I can play Philosophy and Confusion as evil, it's going to be tough for me to not win that game. I'd be very shocked if I didn't, just because I assume I get 2 dominance. Like if I can pop your Son of God, and then I can pop your Angel Lord or something, like that's pretty insane. Or you just say Son of God, Second Coming, and just get rid of them both. But as for the other enhancements, I have 5 Persians in this deck: Persian Horseman, Zeresh, Queen Vashti, Haman, and King Xerxes. So if I play Irrational Rage in a side battle on a Persian, I get to set aside 5 of their characters, up to 5 of their characters for 5 turns, which is pretty crazy. And it's a blocking Persian, so even in a side battle, I'm still blocking. So it still works. So all I got to do is I have a lot of characters that I have initiative. David, of course, as a 1/8. Hannah as a 1/1. I have a couple others. If I want a 4/2, a 4/10 is good, and a 3/3. So I have plenty of heroes that have an ish and can go into Tabernacle Brothers Conflict from discard pile, or just have Brothers Conflict in my hand, or David go get it from my deck. So either way, it's really good. I do like bouncing David, coming back out with David, already having Brothers Conflict in my hand, and snagging like Virgin Birth from deck, and then using Virgin Birth for Tabernacle's cost and getting back a Philosophy or something as well. That's a real good play. And if you look at all these, like in a side battle, I already talked about Irrational Rage, Confusion, and Philosophy. Then we look at Daughter's Grief, which I can play on both my offense and defense, and I can set aside all females in battle and all opposing characters for 2 turns. So I just want to make sure I do have females in this deck, so I want to make sure I don't hit my own stuff. I just got to make sure to play around that. That's why it's in the reserve. But it's just good because I can use it on offense or defense, and it works as a side battle card that I can set aside opposing characters. So as long as I'm blocking in a side battle, you're opposing me, I can set you aside. Then, of course, we have Cast in the Lion's Den, capture a character in battle, if used by Daniel Hero or Persian. I should say a Persian. I guess it's if used by a Daniel Hero or Persian. I felt like I needed another A there. This ability gains regardless of protection. So I do have a regardless of protection on my defense. I don't have Daniel in here, so maybe that's something to look at, but I wasn't really too worried about it. But I do like that I have a white and brown capture. Once again, good side battle card because I can come out, make a side battle, and capture your character. So it's just another good card that I could play on both offense and defense and play in side battle, and that's kind of what we're looking for. And then, of course, Better to Be Slaves. Capture up to 3 humans. This one's really nice because I can come out once again with a side battle, and in the side battle, I can capture who, assuming it's a human, I can capture them and then get a draw 3 potentially. And, of course, Haemon's Plot. So we don't want to use all of our resources in side battles, but if I can just hit all their heroes, then I'm happy, you know? So there's also, like, I can bring in Pagan Sailors, and I can do a side battle, go to Pagan Sailors, and activate stocks. So that's also really good, capture a character. But I felt like there's enough to where as long as I get 2 side battles, I'm good. And remember, Lord Goes Before You. So a lot of people in a musician deck, they'll play Lord Goes Before You, and they'll be like, man, it's so good. But they won't really do anything in the side battle. And I've always talked about for over a year now, is at least on my channel, I've talked about it for a long time, is maximizing the card. So what does the card not just say, but what does it allow you to do? Those are 2 different things. So if used by a musician or royalty, begin a side battle between 2 evil characters. So most of my heroes, especially the ones that I'm attacking with, are musicians. So I get to start a side battle. And then after that battle, banish this card and discard those evil characters. So there's nothing they can do. You block me and I play this, you're pretty much dead. You would have to have a negate a card to negate it in the other battle. Other than that, it's very hard to target. But when I say the abilities, what they say and what they do are 2 different things, because now I create a side battle. Whatever I can do in that side battle is all separate. I want to capitalize on the ability that I control the side battle. I control initiative to a sense, depending on who you block with. I either block low or high. Usually I'm going to always block low and put you in special initiative, which it's hard for the opponent to respond to special initiative. Sure, they can have an interrupt draw 3, but they're going to have something else. But that's why a lot of it, we just like to not choose the character they have, try to do this before battle, or just make it to where it's very hard for them to counter in general. And I just hit a lot of characters. I try to hit your Son of God and your Second Coming. All my stuff is character removal, and it's not just heroes. Stocks is characters. I negate your heroes. I can discard your characters after battle. I have Irrational Rage. I can set them aside. I can capture. I can have another set aside for 2 turns. Discard up to 3. Capture up to 3. And then I can shuffle them back in to do this again. And I can keep doing Madness too. Remember, Storehouse grabs Madness. So maybe if I've already used stocks or I don't need 20 shekels, I can just go Storehouse to Madness, activate Madness, reserve their hero, and it goes into my reserve. I can do that over and over again every turn. I have Descent Against Moses. So you'll see I have an interrupt, a negate, and an interrupt with two potential CBN cards and a CBP. Since I don't have, all I have is Humble. I lost that Golgotha because the Old Testament offense. So I want to make sure I have some CBN, CBP. And then, of course, I have my 05 End the Battle. That's really good off of, well, not a -2, but it's really good off my 3/3, interrupt and play the next. Or I have a big enough band that a 6 -2 into an End the Battle doesn't really bother me. And it's an Esther card, so Haemon can go get it. I could add Esther in here. I think Esther and Mordecai. Mordecai's really good right now. Shout out to Joe Schaefer. Esther's really good because Irrational Rage is looking for your Persians you control. Oh, it's evil. Never mind. Sorry, Esther. You were good. It's kind of the whole point of the book. Actually, there's a whole nother meaning there. But, yeah, I forgot that was just your Persians, or your evil Persians. Man, I had an hour long video last time. I talked about the Book of Ruth in here and all that, but oh well, it's lost forever. So yeah, it's heavy on side battles to where it's just a good offense in general. I can get a lot of resources out, and I can recycle resources between Tabernacle and Music Leader, and Music Leader can get out and get back my heroes from the discard pile at least, because Moses is a musician, Kenaniah, 24 Elders, Hannah, and David. So majority of my offense is musicians. And then I have my Ruth heroes because pretty much David is always going to be meek. If they get rid of David, and I really want that meek character, then I can bounce Jesse, and I'd rather keep Obed as Obed the servant and not his meek side, and bounce Jesse and then put Jesse the root down as meek because I have distressed. It's all situational, depends on what they have down. I love 20 shekels. I know other top players. I'm not a top player. I'm a type 2 player, so I just keep throwing that out there. I just like making decks. I like helping out in any way I can. Yeah, I'm a type 2 player, and I design cards. But I'm saying top players. I don't want to just bundle myself into that. Are liking 20 shekels. So if you are seeing top players play cards, consider them. Hey, why are they playing that? I get to bounce an OT human in a territory. Sure, it doesn't work against GOC territory control, but as long as you're playing some sort of OT to where you get a benefit from it, it's still good. But I also get to look at their hand, so that's nice, and then play a character. So I can force a character down for Stocks or Holy Grail or Jehu, whatever it may be, or just putting a character down for Choose the Blocker. If I want their hand to be down, like I want to hit them with Impartial Judgment or something, I can look at their hand. Okay, I can throw a hero down, and now I already knew how many evil they had. It's not the best example, but I can see how much evil they have in their hand before an Impartial Judgment, or play a character before an AOC, like an Awesome Things into AOC. So 20 shekels is just very, very good. It works great in here because I need it for my bounce. I can bounce annoying Old Testament characters too. But yeah, I really like it. Pretty standard. Ruth, musicians, nothing too crazy. I didn't go Ruth, shared meal, interrupt, play next, all that. So I only have shared meal in here most because shared meal into Lord Goes Before You is very, very good. Because I interrupt what they did. I put them in a side battle. Their card fizzles because they aren't there, and they don't get to come back. They're dead. So it catches them off guard. Or I can set aside all evil characters in battle for two turns on a shared meal. Or I have Daughter's Grief, set aside opposing characters for 2 turns, and cast to the Lion's Den. So, and also anything I need to put in from Storehouse, I can kind of manipulate. So I like shared meal. Really, it's because I could take shared meal out and just bring Lord Goes Before You into the main deck. And then put something else in the reserve and get the deck down to 52 cards. That is an option. We're testing. I kind of like it where it's at. I like having the extra interrupt. Worst case, I get it turn 1. Oh well, it's not ideal, but I remember in my video that I put up for like 2 minutes, and then Brian told me there was no audio, so appreciate it, Brian. That I was ranking like kind of where this deck was. I think if you control a side battle, it makes your deck a lot better, and the fact that you have a side battle. There's times where I'm like, man, I'm down, I need to draw, and they're not going to let me draw because I choose the blocker, whatever it may be, where they're going to negate stuff. Just the fact that I get to make a side battle and get resources is good. And then if I can get resources and limit your resources, confusion, philosophy, that's also really good. Or I 20 shekelled you, saw you had no heroes in your hand, or one. I played that hero, and then played an Irrational Rage. and set aside all your heroes. I just blocked on my offense, and I could potentially win the battle, especially if it's a Lord goes before you, and I do like a Persian Horseman. I discard your artifact. I take something from reserve. I play Irrational Rage, set aside all your heroes, and then play Better to Be Slaves, and capture all your human evil characters, and then we die because of numbers. You don't get a chance to play, and then your guy dies, and now you have no blocker, no evil characters, no heroes. And what? I used two cards and a good enhancement. That is fine by me. I just got a block and a rescue, and potentially another block and another rescue. So, I really like side battles. So I think normal like tiers is S tier. That's very few things. And from a redemption standpoint, S tier would be decks that have the chance to win nationals. Like these are the best decks. And then A tier, these decks aren't as good as S tier, but in the right hands, played correctly, it could still win nats. And then B tier, good deck, maybe it has some surprises, or it has to be played perfectly by a good player, or the player knows their deck and is experienced with it. I do think this is hovering right around B tier, like lower B tier, just because the defense is good. It has character removal. It does need to come down to 50 cards. Sure, you could have Hopper. So we'd have to do some tweaks there, but taking the opponent off guard and the chance to get rid of their Son of God and Second Coming is huge. So maybe it's high C tier, maybe. Just no one's ever done a tier breakdown before. I would like to. I would just have to see all the decks and I would just do maybe offensively, and an offense and a deck are two different things, as we know. But there's a hand control. There's tons of hand control offenses right now. That's a good offense. Blue and purple in particular. I really like the purple hand control offense. I haven't shown it yet, but it's really good. And there's two versions of that as well. One, you can play Disciples Church of Christ. They're both Impartial Judgment, but one plays Disciples Church of Christ with Impartial, and it's like, oh, how do you do Impartial? You could play it early with awesome things, but you do have to have Jotham. Or you just play it in battle with like a Chronicles of the Kings or an Interrupt. But remember, Impartial's a negate, so you can just negate and then play Impartial. I know it puts them in Special Initiative, but I think it's okay. Especially with Hand Look, if I don't need to waste a Dominant and I get an Impartial Judgment, that's huge. Especially if I have a big banning chain, give you an ish and then play Impartial Judgment. But I do think, and you get the tokens from Church of Christ, so you can play Disciples. You get all the good stuff with Disciples. So you have the Add to Battle, the 4 Drachma Coin, all the speed there, a couple other tricks that are S tier tricks that I'm not going to put on my channel because I think they're super secret. But there's a lot there with that offense. And then you could play the tokens and Impartial Judgment with the new purple hand control. I think it's really good. I don't think it's elite, but I think it's very good. And purple royalty. It's a lot easier to play Impartial Judgment that way, but you don't get all the token heroes. But either way, what I mean is, I went down a whole tangent there. And then you have blue hand control. So you have different hand control offenses. And posties. Posties, of course, and anything with Jehu. So you have a bunch of different hand control offenses. I can't just shut up for a second and stay on topic, sorry. And then with that hand control, that's just the offense, but what do you pair it with? I mean, if you pair it with Thieves and Romans, now you have full-on hand control, so the deck's better. So the whole point I was getting at, man, if I edited videos, I'd probably edit all that out. The whole point I was getting at is there's really good offenses and really good decks, and it's sometimes an offense is better because of the defense. So it's hard to do like a tier breakdown of just an offense. Um, so I don't know. Maybe that's something I look into in the future. I would like to. So maybe just do it by like themes. I don't know. We're gonna move on because that was crazy. I mean, Tyler talks. So 53 cards, very consistent. Land of Moab's awesome in this one. The Elimelech burst. Elimelech was Ruth's first husband, so he banishes himself to get a Ruth hero, and that's kind of significance of Boaz, because he and or Naomi, because she probably got everyone together. But yeah, he passed away. It was, if you didn't have a brother, I had to go back and read Ruth, but I know back then if you didn't, the brother had to take you on, and if you didn't have a brother, it was like, what happens? Meaning like your prior husband that passed away, if he didn't have a brother, then you were just by yourself, and then that was really bad back then. So Elimelech's a cool card, but as we put it, for like, it's thematic, but it's also really strong. So we like to get out Land of Moab, get out our Elimelech, and hopefully have another David hero down or a Ruth hero down, get the draw, and then go into David. So it's got a little bit of speed burst. Moses also gets his own resource. 24 Elders is a good rescue majority of the times as well. I don't have a ton of artifacts. I'm not really attacking with 24 Elders a bunch. I do think there's a white by the numbers deck with Cloud of Moses, Pharaoh's Daughter, Sprinkled Blood. I know Jay talks about Sprinkled Blood, Tabernacle, Cloud Moses with Pharaoh's Daughter, and he just spams it over and over again. Jay's better at playing defense than most people, so if you know how to play defense, then that's something you can do. But I do think there is a very good white by the numbers offense. Cloud Moses shuts down everything, but 24 Elders and Hannah, and yes, you would have to use Samuel. 24 Elders and Hannah, just negating opponent's evil and neutral cards is very good, and negating evil cards is very good. All your stuff works, all theirs doesn't. So I do think that's very strong, and it all fits together in white. So, but yeah, we'll get into it. I kind of want to show you how we use these side battles. And I did make a Type 2 version of this. I put it on Discord. That's kind of what spurred everything. I was just messing around with the Type 2 build. And I was like, this would be really good in Type 1. So I just took the deck, put it into, I copied my Type 2, hit new deck, paste, and just took out all duplicates, and then just edited down. That was really it. Alright, so what do we get? This is actually relevant his star ability moving forward, because weapons are going to be played. Roman horses that is a great card. Tributes coming out. You could even Stalks of Flax, give them a profit, and you could play Syrian horses. I know a lot of the player base is newer, meaning like competitive for 5 years. And that was like a weird spot. You got to remember, like 4 years ago was COVID, and 2019 was like, was that the last year before rotation? Maybe 2020? 2020 might have been. We've been in rotation for a few years, and prior to, like, horses were everywhere. I think it was 2019 or 20, but we called it the Southeast Defense, and it was just 2K horses, Naaman's Chariot and horses, and everyone got the band, and you got to play first, and you just end the battle all day. I don't think we're back to there yet, but the interrupt draw 3 and a couple horses with some banding is it's close. Keeping my eye on it, but it's close. So I say that because discard and evil enhancement is good, but it's going to get better. So let's see. So we already have one piece of the puzzle, I like to say, but we already have Haemon being the piece of the puzzle. I like Zeresh to Haemon, but we have Deceiver to go into Haemon. We go to Haemon's Boasting, and we have an interrupt, draw 3, kill everyone. So if we do get to go first, I have a hand look, a draw, Lost Souls are protected, and I have a battle winner with a negate. So not bad. If we don't get to go first, we have at least a Haemon block with a Haemon's Plot. I don't love that on the first turn. And I'm almost thinking that to get this deck down even more is we take out the shared meal, we put Lord Goes Before You into main deck, and we move Haemon's Plot into reserve. That would make it 52. So, and then we could use Haemon's Plot as needed with Haemon or Storehouse, but I don't mind having it turn 1. It's like AOC to me. Like, sure, I want more value with AOC later, but if I can guarantee a block, I guarantee a block. Now, if I did anything first turn, there's no need to put down Obed. Really, the only thing I should do is just go straight from hand, look at their hand, and I hope to get a draw 2. Like, I have 2 brigades. It's pretty common to get a draw 2. I have enough here. I don't control a clay hero, so I don't get the negate. And but I can ignore 1 brigade in battle or draw 1. So that's really not bad because I can just ignore you, and people forgot how to play ignore. I feel like we should bring that back, like bringing in like maybe a theme. They ignore, and it's tied into something, I don't know, but we just don't do ignore anymore. It got confusing for people, I believe, and then we just kind of stopped making it, and I saw a lot more protection instead of ignore. Like protection, the numbers still matter on one side. Like if I'm defending and you're protected from me, I want it to just be a stalemate. Ignore, it's not a stalemate or mutual destruction. Ignore means you aren't there. You have to either interrupt the battle, negate my ignore. That's it. So ignore is stronger because I have a 1/1 with an ignore, and that's really good. So then you would have to play something, and I can Royal Parade it, or I can 3 woes it, assuming you have something to do. No clue if that's a rescue or not. That's just how I would have played it. If they generated a Lost Soul, which you should have plenty of. I always say you have 3 lines or 3 points, 3 ways to get Soul Gen. And I do like having a hero that's Soul Gen as well. Like a Meek hero specifically, or someone that can just pull one out. Not necessarily just a self-capture. I also like having 3 unique ways. So like Hopper or Lost Souls, like Token or Harvest or Covet, any Lost Soul way. Or like a neutral in general, like Magic Charms or something. So I like ways to generate Lost Souls out of neutral cards. Ends of the Earth is another really good one. And then I like characters that capture themselves, Malachite Slave, and then heroes that generate souls. So that just personally for me when I'm making like a competitive deck, and I'm talking like when I'm looking at winning a good regionals or nationals, that I make sure that I don't just have Soul Gen, but I have different areas of Soul Gen. So, because if they negate my neutrals and that's all I had was a Hopper and a Ends of the Earth, then I'm out of luck, So, so if they did have Soul Gen, we would go to Haemon here. We could go Lying Prophet and get the hand look and draw, knowing that we have Plot, but then it's just a little bit of a risky move. I like the guarantee up front, especially if they blocked me or something. Since I just played an ignore, that means their character's still down, and that means I can plot it. I also don't like playing boasting turn one. So it all depends on their numbers. If they had like a prophet in battle, then I would have gone lying prophet, killed him, and then played 3 woes, because lying prophet can discard an OT prophet. So, or is it just prophet? Now I need to know. Discard a good prophet. So yeah, if they rescued with a prophet, Gabriel, Moses, there's so many prophets right now, and I can just switch and go to a lying prophet, put him in special initiative, and then have 3 woes. That means I keep my plot and my boasting for later. So all depends. I opted out of the draw. I just went straight to Haemon's boasting. Depending on the numbers, if for some reason they have an ish, then I would play 3 woes, because I really don't want to use my Haemon's boasting or my plot right now. And I like having woes early, because I could always change the target of woes. So the longer woes is down, that's not always the mindset. The longer woes is down, the more things I can negate. But playing woes at the right time is what's most important. So I'm not sure how this would play out. Let's just say we probably would have to go into a boasting, into a plot, since we didn't draw anything else, and discard some peeps. So we lose that from a side battle perspective. And then we could play a Meek hero from reserve. I don't really have a lot of Meek heroes other than David. So that's not a horrible idea, is throwing a Meek hero in the reserve. And once again, that comes back to utilizing the card. Like if there's a Meek hero like Ruth, like I could throw Ruth in the reserve and have like a Ruth enhancement in the reserve too. And I could play Ruth. Now I have an extra Ruth hero for Elimelech. I have an extra Ruth, or I have an extra Meek hero for Obed and Jesse, and I have an extra hero down, and I have a hero that I can flip and have CBN enhancements. So that's probably the move right there. I can look at Boaz and a couple others, but I think that's a good play. Now I have to think. I have Land of Moab, and I have 20 shekels, Covenant with David, and Confusion of Mind. I really want the hand look, but I think negating their heroes is very, very good. Especially I'm not looking at a great defense right here, right now. I'm going to have to generate some resources. But remember, I got the other piece of the puzzle. So I could go Amalekite Slave to Zeresh, get an evil card, go to Haemon, get another evil card. I don't have Vashti to band to Zeresh yet. Like, meaning she's in my hand, but I have Amalekite Slave. So maybe I don't have a great way to generate a draw on my offense. So instead, I could either look at their hand and help me block that way, or we just go into a Confusion of Mind. They would have to discard 2 good enhancements from hand or a good dominant. If not, all their heroes are negated CBN. I know I'm going to play Covenant with David. Now I got to make sure. What do I want? Because I have Land of Moab right here. So, got to get a fortress. Because I don't have another multi-brigade site. So it's either store, and I'm just double checking, but it's storehouse or a tab. So then it's, what do I want? Do I want the hand protection and getting my reserve access? Or do I want Tabernacle, knowing I'm pretty much going to attack with David and getting the exchange? I have to look, like I would have to know it's in my discard pile, and that was Word of Christ, so I don't, unless I'm going to my reserve, which I could. There's not really a ton of targets I care for with the Tabernacle right now. But if I get Tabernacle, I could still go to my reserve, and then David's going to go to Brothers Conflict right now, more than likely, and then I have Tabernacle for next turn. So it just depends. How do you want to play it? I play Land of Moab. Increasing your hand size is really good. Decreasing their hand size is really good. I've only seen, I think, like Caden. I've talked about it before, and Caden and I think alike from a redemption perspective. So it makes sense. If I can decrease your hand size, I'm getting a permanent +2 on you. Like, you have to end your turn with 6 cards in hand, 7 cards in hand, 6, 5, whatever I'm playing those, decrease your hand size. Land of Moab's really cool, especially when it came out, because it was like there's an increase and a decrease. So, I don't know. I just think people look over hand size. If I can end the turn with 9 or 10 cards in my hand, and you're sitting there with 6 or 7 cards in my hand, that's really, really good for me. So, okay, go to a Ruth Hero. I know I'm going to a Elimelech. I want that draw. And we're going to put down our other Ruth Hero. We're going to put down David. And then that way we're going to get the full, I have to do a shuffle. We have to do I get the full 3 limit on this. I have 1, 2, 3 Ruth Heroes. 1, 2, 3. And Covet goes over there in a second when I finish that draw. So Covet will come down, and assuming their deck's not protected, I take their Distressed or whatever. Humble is a good one too. And then I can banish this card to take a Ruth Hero from deck or reserve, and or add a Ruth Hero to battle. Once again, a Ruth Hero in reserve would be good. So I can banish Elimelech, take a Ruth Hero from deck, and or add a Ruth Hero. So then I can go to David. It's I don't know, other than Wandering Israelites, I think Elimelech is probably the best add to battle hero. Amalekite Slave has the most targets, at least the legacy rare. But the fact that you can draw, take, add, and there's 2 locations, I just don't think you'll ever see a card like that again. So now I can take a good OT card from deck and then ban to a Meek Hero. Don't care about that. We want to take Brothers Conflict. We just want to trying to think from a side battle perspective. We don't have a ton. Like, before I grab that, I can go Amalekite Slave into Zeresh to Haman and go into not much. Honor Thy Enemy isn't going to do anything in a side battle. I can go to Lying Prophet and have Philosophy plus a draw. Or I can go Amalekite Slave. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, so we still want Brothers Conflict. You just want to make sure you're doing your side battle right. And that's why this deck has the potential to be B tier. Because what you can do in a side battle is so good and catch them off guard. So David's pretty much always going to have initiative. Now, we don't really have that. Shared Meal's really good, but we don't have that interrupt play next. So if they just put us immediately in special inish, we have to be mindful of that, because David's a prophet, and the Lying Prophet is all over the place. So we could play Brothers Conflict and begin a side battle between 2 evil characters. If I choose yours, you already control them, you have to have them. Or I choose Amalekite Slave into someone else you have. It just depends on who's out there. And I can put Amalekite Slave over and go into Persian Horseman. And now I can draw 2 or discard your artifact. That alone is good because if I need to draw, obviously, or you have an artifact I don't like, I can get rid of it. And guess what? I can block with him and do it again. We'll draw 2 because I don't know what artifact you have down, right? And if I took your Lost Soul, I would have put it in Land of Moab, but that's just kind of where I put a card. Um, if a Persian is in play, you may take an OT Brown enhancement from reserve. And now from here, I can go straight into Confusion. And I have a 3 woes in my hand, so I can go 3 woes onto your deck or hand protection, and then go into Confusion. I could set aside 2 of your characters, or I can capture up to 3 of your humans. I can capture a character in battle. I can capture this person. Or if I brought you over, I can set us all aside. So there's a lot there. The other potential move, since I had Philosophy, was Amalekite Slave into Lying Prophet. But either way, I knew I could get a Confusion if I wanted. So I'd play better to be slaves and capture your human in battle, assuming that's who you're blocking with, plus your 2 humans in territory. I don't think I have, or plus your guy you're blocking me against. If for some reason, if you have some sort of special niche and you have a card that can negate an evil card, I would play 3 woes. And I just took out your blocker, another evil character, and probably your best hero. And all that's based on just a good Ruth Musician deck. Like, it's already a good offense. And now guess what? I coveted your best Lost Soul. And now I have Jesse Obed down. My hand size is actually 9, but I put down Jesse because obviously you want Jesse down. And I like to take your Distressed even though I have Distressed because just in case you do anything, I want my characters to work if you get rid of my Obed or something. So now from a blocking perspective, I actually do still have plenty of options. The fact that I have a character that can once again look at your hand and draw, a character that can draw or kill your artifact, and go straight to the reserve with initiative is very good. And then I have a Haman that can do all sorts of fun things as well. He can get to honor thy enemy. No, wait, he can't go to reserve because Zeresh. So the only thing he could get from my deck is Zeresh. So it all depends on how you attack me here for numbers. More than likely, I go to Lying Prophet and just hope, depending on your numbers. We got rid of our Musician because Music Leader can always get them back, and I'm good on heroes. Plus, I have Love Righteousness, and I can recur Love Righteousness, so that's why I quickly discarded Kenaniah for Prosperity. And I'm just simulating all this as we know. So even though it's not the not quote unquote, but even though it's not like, it doesn't look like a blazing fast deck, I'm just constantly getting resources. And you don't have to be just blazing fast. Like, you really don't. Chronicles is really good in this build. Same with 3 woes because I have a negate outside of battle that works both ways. And that's what I want. I do have an upkeep trigger. Plenty here to get. I do want my side battle card. My other upkeep trigger, I would target your storehouse or something. Whatever your hand protection is, or deck protection, because I want to go after your Son of God right here with Confusion. And guess what? If we're not sure about who to block with, I can look at your hand. So at this point, I would go into a 20 shekels. And yes, I know I'm not fully maximizing Tabernacle. Like, I do feel like I need Book of the Covenant in here, but then I would have needed Sprinkled Blood or something else. It was just, I was having a tough time trying to get another Covenant, and then the deck's already too big. But yes, I do want Covenants active in the Tabernacle. Like, I want you to remain plus something else, just to have that value, and the draw 1, and you're just always getting resources is really nice. It all adds up. So now I can bounce, look at your hand, play a character, and now I know I can put down Tabernacle. Now I have all sorts of ways to generate resources, and I can play first. It'd be very difficult, unless I know you have Christian Martyr, it would be very difficult for you to do anything here. Going with David, flip him. I'd probably just play Son of God, and I'd probably play Second Coming right away. I'm afraid of holding them right now with Philosophy running around. And then I could, as soon as they block, play Awesome Things. And then begin a side battle between two evil characters. Now here's the thing. I saw their hand. I can go Lying Prophet Philosophy, or I can go Persian Horseman Confusion. It all just depends on what I want to do here, and it depends on initiative as well. So if I don't want them to negate, then I'll just come out here, and once again, hey, do you have an artifact? Kill it. Imagine playing the game against your opponent without artifacts. So now I have, and I drew into a negate, and I can activate Madness, which is really nice, to where I can just pop their hero outside of this, and then I can go into Reserve. I can grab, can I grab, no, that'd be unique. I was saying, could I grab Madness, play Madness? No, I'm thinking too much. So now I go into Confusion, and I play Confusion here, and just get rid of their Son of God. And remember, it's against their character that they blocked with. I die by numbers, and we're dead. And by we, I mean you and my character. But David is alive, unless you had, Christian Martyr, or Falling Away or something, or Add to Battle. Like, I get through there. I don't have hero territory protection, and I don't have my color guard out. I have 9 cards in hand, so I'm good to go. So I do want to be weary of what all I put down, but that increased my hand size is nice. So now they can go, and I have at least a couple ways to draw, get resources, and I have King Xerxes, which is really nice because I can go straight to a shield. So I like to go Vashti, and I can negate a card or draw. That's very good. Being able to negate their territory class protection going into a draw is very, very good. And then, and Vashti gets a draw too. Go to Gomer, go to Xerxes, who plays Sheol. That's amazing. It's also one of those where the opponent wasn't suspecting you to have Sheol, and then all of a sudden you just play it from reserve is nice. Playing Babel from reserve is really nice too, because it's a negate, so it's an ongoing prevent. So when you put it in play, it acts as a negate, so it'll actually interrupt their abilities. So playing Babel from reserve is also a really good play. And remember, Haman's Boasting can take a Persian or OT Fortress from reserve. So 2 ways to fortresses. I don't think I need Daughter's Grief and Cast in the Lion's Den. So I do think Babel in here is the better option. We do have Chronicles of the Kings and Descent Against Moses. It just depends on what they attacked with. The other move is just simply lying prophet philosophy, Christian Martyr, get rid of their other dominant. So it really just depends on how they attacked. Virgin Birth didn't proc there. I wasn't making tokens. Oopsies. Little Toki Toki, boom, boom. I have my protection, good. That's pretty much it. We used our side battles, and now I can go back into them with Tabernacle. We have our upkeep triggers, don't forget. We're going to want to take a good side battle card. And now that we lost our Persian Horseman, we do want to make sure we have a good side battle card because we're about to go into a side battle again. I have plenty of options here for Tabernacle to pay the cost. And then I can go right back into 20 shekels, whatever I need to. And I can bounce my David. All, again, it just depends on what's out there. Go to David. I have one card. And then I can exchange Virgin Birth with Brothers Conflict. They block. I have Initiative. And I play Brothers Conflict. I make them fight Lying Prophet. I play Philosophy. If for some reason they have dominance in their hand, like that'd be kind of dumb. Oops, I don't want to block with him. You saw nothing. Queen Vashti. Also, Queen Vashti is very good in a side battle as well because I can negate double hand protection if you have it. Draw. Don't need to band. Play Irrational Rage. Set aside 1, 2, 3 of your characters for 3 turns. Or 3 of your characters, for 3 turns. One being your blocker. And if I need to, I have Angel Lord. So not bad. So that's pretty much it. It just has good rescues either way. Like I still have Philosophy. I have Moses to snag Inhabitants Driven Out. I mean, that's not bad. I just get a card from my reserve. I bounce all evil characters. And Royal Parade, I have Music Leader to get back enhancements. Tabernacle to get back enhancements. Good reserve access. I can draw. The fact that I can draw when I block, draw when I attack, go into a side battle, and then draw some more is really good. And I can constantly pop your artifacts. So there's a lot there. It's a lot of fun to play. Anytime you have a side battle, it's fun. So Jeremy Chambers 2 years ago at Nats went, instead of using like awesome things into AOC, he did awesome things into Faith of Gideon and obliterated my hand. I couldn't recover at that point. It was still a time loss on my end. Like I got Jeremy timed win. But yeah, he eradicated my hand. So if you can capitalize on a side battle, you're in a good spot. So somehow, some way, I still kept it at an hour. I'm just glad there's a video on this one. I did a early recording, literally with me eating cereal. Hit start recording for like 2 seconds. Listen to the video. So that was pleasant, and knew the audio worked. So I don't want to go in. Sometimes I just play a few turns and then I rinse and repeat. This one I kind of wanted to show that you can do multiple side battles very easily. I'm not really relying on David because I have Hannah and Tabernacle and Love Righteousness. If you negate Tabernacle, it's really not a big deal. Maybe I fit in Oath of Purity and Book of the Covenant, and because I want to bounce my characters. And if I could have 20 shekels and Oath of Purity, bounce 3 of my characters, then I have board control all day. Like, meaning you're going to have board advantage in my side battle. My Xerxes is going to be great. Or when you attack me, King Xerxes is going to be great. So I still think there's a couple tweaks that I can make to make it better. But I really like it. And I could also use Brothers Conflict as a side battle on Evil. So I didn't talk about that. I can play Brothers Conflict and use Philosophy. And play Philosophy on my good. And then I can just attack and get it back again. Get back Philosophy or get back Brothers Conflict. So the fact that I can get back Brothers Conflict a couple times and play it as good or evil, it's just They're just really good. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you're playing white, you're playing brown, or you're playing white brown, I just, why wouldn't you play Brothers Conflict? I know so many people play Lord Goes Before You, but play both of them and put some cards in there that work. You can play Wilderness. You can play Wilderness with Brothers Conflict, and you get a little bit more streamlined offense with Add to Battle. Add to Battle and side battles. Woo! That's a very good deck. So hope you all enjoyed. I don't want to blabber on at the end, but appreciate you all watching, and hopefully we will meet in person soon. There's some big tournaments coming up. Nationals is right around the corner, y'all. We're almost in February. February, March, April, May, June. Is it July? So 6 months away. We're 6 months away from last year's Nationals and 6 months away from next year's. That went by quick. So the next 6 months is going to go by quicker, I feel. But appreciate y'all, and we will talk soon.